Morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Hope everybody's well. It's a beautiful day here in Virginia Beach. I actually got up and took a walk this morning. Actually, this is day 3 of me trying to get myself healthy. Um, since I've been in the house and eating so much, it feels like I need to, just sort of get a little bit of exercise in. So I've been going out for walks every morning, and it's been a good thing, just the fresh air. There's nobody out, so I can, just put my headphones on, music, and good morning, Adrian. How are you? Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Um, so yeah, I've been out walking for the last couple of days, just trying to get some fresh air, being that we're in this lockdown. So let's start with our morning prayer, and then today we're going to talk about goal setting. That's today's topic. So uh, we'll start with the morning prayer. Lord, as we start this day, we trust in your unfailing love and promises of safety and protection. In Jesus' name, amen. So I don't have a lot of announcements. Actually, I don't have any today other than, the same stuff that I've been telling you guys for the last couple of days, which is Monday. I have the telework, pivoting your way into telework, for those individuals who have been working in an office, and because of the pandemic that we're dealing with right now, they now have to work from home, and they're just trying to figure out ways to get organized and acclimated to working from home. So I have that webinar. That's on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Tuesday, I have the home buyer education from 7 to 9 p.m. That is a free event. The webinar on Monday is not a free event, but tickets are on sale at on Eventbrite, and I've placed the information in my live, but in the live feed, but I can place it in there again. So if you know of anybody who is interested in home ownership, thinking about it, I know it's crucial times right now, so probably not many people are thinking about buying a house, but what I think is important during this time is that we start to educate ourselves in many different things, read a book, learn something new. If you've always thought about buying a house, but you're not quite sure where to start, take the class. It's free, and if you have time on your hands, it makes sense to just do it. So uh, I encourage you to let people know, Adrian, if even, where you are, it is a virtual webinar. So if there are people that that are looking for, trying to figure out, how do I buy a house? What do I need to do? What steps can I take? I have questions. Have them join the webinar, because it's good stuff. Um, I am drinking today Country Peach. I haven't gotten to the grocery store yet to try the honey lavender. I plan on doing that this weekend. Drinking peach today, and it's popped in my message box. So let me get rid of that. Yes, I have a friend in mind. I will inbox. Okay, perfect. That's awesome. Yeah. So the that's all I had for announcements. If you have something, if you're on, I see Adrienne. I don't see too many other people. I don't see anybody else actually right now. If there's an announcement that you'd like to make, Adrienne, I know you are a consultant for Pink Zebra. So if you have something going on and you want to put it in the chat or the comments, please feel free to do so. I always like people to promote what it is that they're doing, and provide your links, and however I can help you with it. I try to do that. So if you have any information you want to share, please feel free to do that. Um, And now I'm just going to go ahead and get started with today's topic, which is goal setting. All right, so let's talk about the definition of goals. Okay. Um, Definition, and this is by, I took this from Tony Robbins actually. Powerful process of identifying something you want to accomplish and establishing measurable objectives and timeframes to help you achieve those goals. Okay, so that is the definition of goal setting. So, why do we think goals are important? Why do you think goals are important? Well, for instance, we need to figure out where we want to start in, if we have something that we're trying to accomplish, we have to figure out what the starting point is and what the destination is going to be. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why goal setting is so important. It's goals they have value because they help you to develop yourself and they help you to develop others. So if you've been in a management position, or even if you haven't, but you're trying to get from where you are today until to where you're trying to go, you have to have a plan in order to do that. I think about that with business. I've been in a leadership role in many different companies that I worked with, and in one company in particular, I had I had worked for a company where I was an underwriter, and that company was transitioning to do something different on their own. And I'm not going to go into all the details on that, but they had their back end operations needed to be tweaked. Like there were certain things. Good morning, Karen. Thanks for joining. There were certain things. We're talking about goal setting today. So in this position that I was in, they had done all of the point of sale operations, so the sales piece in mortgages. So they had an origination team. They had processors who sort of processed the loan along the way, and they had underwriters on the front end. Okay, but on the back end operations, they used another company to manage their back end operations. And then when those two companies split, okay, they had no operations in the back end. Okay. And when I say back end, I'm talking about, closing loans, the post closing, the insuring, if it was a government loan, government insuring. And I'll have a live one day where I kind of talk about, the roles in mortgage banking, because that's what I'm really passionate about. And that's what I do. So I want to talk about it, and give people information on mortgage banking and finance. And perhaps, if you really like the things that I'm talking about, maybe you might think about pursuing a career in mortgage banking. So anyway, in sort of filling the gap here with talking about goals, the goal of the company was to, be able to run the entire process from start to finish, because they had two separate entities, one that was operating the front end and the other that was operating the back end. And they didn't have anybody to do the back end operations, right? So I volunteered because I had been in the business for a while, and I had, walked through all those processes before, just over the course of, a 30-year time frame. And so I volunteered to be on this beta team and to help walk them through the process. And as a result of that, they didn't have any plan. They needed someone to sort of put a plan together. And I guess that someone was me. I raised my hand, so I got the job. But what I had to do, because I started from scratch, like, okay, we need a government insuring division. We need post closing. we have to put steps together in order to, be able to operate smoothly. And so that required a plan, that required goals. It required setting, small steps so that we could then become a larger operation that could, manage, all of these loans that had been closing, and manage it smoothly. So I had a team of people, but I had to figure out, what was first, second, and third. So, what's my starting destination, or excuse me, my starting point? My starting point was, okay, I need to write a manual, and I need to understand, or even before that, I need to understand what all the steps are in being able to put this department together. And then once I understand the steps, so first I had to educate myself, you know, on all the nuances. And then I had to come up with a plan to execute all of these things, and put these things, together. And then I had to develop a team of people, and I had to figure out who was going to be responsible for what, and how this whole process was going to run smoothly. So I needed a plan, and I needed to have goals. The end goal, we knew what the end goal was. We needed a government insuring division and a post closing division at the company, and we needed it to run and operate smoothly. So that was the goal. And then we had all the steps, that we had to sort of insert in order to get there. So, goals are important because it gives you a place to start and then a destination to arrive at. And then it's our responsibility, within that goal to figure out, what measures we need to take. All right. And then it goes beyond us, having our goals. We have to think about the goals of the people that follow us, the people that we're influencing, our subordinates. So those individuals have goals too, and we have to try and help them to achieve those goals, right? So um, goals provide a roadmap for success. So what do I need to do first, second, third, and so on. We have to, develop that roadmap. And when we think about goals, that's what helps us to develop that roadmap, right? Um, so they also help you to see where you're going and what changes or adjustments need to be made along the way in order to reach those goals. Okay, so I go back to the story of me running this a government insuring team. Okay, I needed to know, like, it was brand new to everyone. I had experience in government insuring previously, but I hadn't run a team of people or run an entire department. So I there we did it was trial by fire, really. And we had to make adjustments along the way. It's kind of like, a business plan, right? Just, having, the steps in front of you so you can, stay on the path. So one of the things that I wrote down here was a direct course of action. And I always use this word, stay the path. Stay the path. So you create a plan, you have a goal, you create a plan to reach that goal, and you stay the path. And when I say stay the path, that doesn't mean not making the necessary adjustments as you see, that you need to make them. But it's having, a lane to sort of stay in, so you're not, all over the place, and you can, reach that goal fairly quickly. So I want to talk about SMART goals. Have you guys heard of SMART goals? Do you know what that is? I'm going to just look in the feed here to see if anybody responds to that. Have you heard of SMART goals before? Anybody? Karen says, what is the most challenging aspect of mortgage banking? I'll talk to you about that, Karen, just shortly. Starting from scratch was perfect training for entrepreneurship. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, um, I want you to think about while I'm answering Karen's question. I want you to think about what you think SMART goals are. Okay, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, so Karen says, "What's the most challenging aspect of mortgage banking?" I'm going to say that the most challenging part is being able to deal with the volatility of the market because I think I mentioned yesterday, you know, when the market is good, you can make great money and you can do really well, and that, I'm talking more about sales, but um and then when the market's not good, you kind of have to save a nest egg, in order to sort of float your way through those times when you're in sales and productivity. And the reason for that is because those individuals are commissioned individuals, generally in sales. Now on the operations side, which is where I was, layoffs are huge, because when the market is good, mortgage companies generally pile on the people, to manage, all of the business that's coming their way. But when profit margins sort of decrease, based on rates and what's happening in the market, when that happens, there's generally a lot of layoffs. So remember, I was telling you guys that, I've been laid off a few times, in my career, and that's just the nature of the beast in mortgage banking. It's the nature of the beast. So you have to be prepared for that. And that's one of the things that I talk about in my mortgage basics class. I have been very successful in mortgage banking. Mortgage banking has been so good to me. And when I tell you good to me, it has afforded me so many opportunities, so much growth, so much income. It's a great business to be in. And I always say this. I know I'm getting off task a little bit, but I always say this: the medical field and mortgage banking and finance are the two best fields that you can be in, because um, everybody, at some point in time is going to buy a house, right? And then people are, get sick all the time and they need, medical attention. So those are the two, in my opinion, most lucrative fields to be in. So from, that piece, from a challenging perspective, that's where I'll go with that, Karen. But as far as like positions in mortgage banking, I would say all of them have their challenges. The most pressure I feel is on the loan processor, and I'll talk to you about, what a loan processor does. They're pretty much the hub of the life cycle of the loan. So they, if you can picture, a smart chart, and you have, the loan processor in the very middle, and then you have all these legs kind of, going outward. They're dealing with so many people, so there's a huge amount of pressure there. But um, even moving to an underwriting position, which is the next step after processing. That's, if you're, um, career oriented and you want to be in mortgage banking, the next step after being a loan processor would be an underwriter, which is what I did for, 20 of the 30 years that I've been in this business. And the underwriter, as I mentioned in one of my previous lives, is the person who evaluates the risk of the loan, and they make a decision whether they're going to approve or deny you. So that's a pretty, hefty position to be in, because your signature actually is what gives hundreds of thousands of dollars to people, right? Whether and you so you're evaluating the risk for the consumer, but you're also evaluating the risk level of the company, and trying to determine whether the borrower is a good credit risk. Hey, good morning, Kim. How are you? Um, so it can be very challenging. It can be very stressful knowing that you're the decision maker, especially if you have a borrower who is on the fence and they've, had some credit issues, they've had some challenges, and, you're looking at the file and, they can, you can see that they can afford it now, but you're looking at their history and their willingness to pay and their ability to pay, and trying to make that determination, and you want to give them a shot, but they don't necessarily meet, the guidelines or the requirements of, the agencies that we're selling the loans to. So you can't make decisions with your heart, and sometimes you want to, and so you have to find there's a fine line that you have to walk and balance between, you know, um, helping someone achieve their home ownership goals and still, mitigating risk for the company that you're working for. And Kim was in mortgage banking for a while, and she was an originator. And Kim, if you wouldn't mind, just, talk a little bit in the live about, or in the chat, about your experience in mortgage banking, and, the love that you had for it, the hate that you had for it, and speak to some of the, most challenging things that you faced, um, while being an originator. I think that's huge. And I think there's, some people on the line here that are probably very interested in that. So if you wouldn't mind speaking to that, that would be wonderful. Let me see what else we have here. So, Karen, we talked about that. Karen, did I answer your question? I could talk mortgages all day long, I really could. And it really, dig deep into mortgage banking, but I have a mortgage basics class that, that's how I make a living with my with my self-employment uh piece. So you got to take the course to get all of it, right? But I am happy to share little golden, what I call golden nuggets, on these lives. um all right, so Karen also says starting from scratch was the perfect training for entrepreneurship. It really is, Karen. And I think I spoke about this in a previous live as well. The everything that I went through and I learned, the fact that in that position in government insuring, I did not know um, how to run that type of department. I mean, I had worked in it. I had seen, what previous, leadership individuals had done previously, but, to be in that role and making the decisions is a whole nother animal. And actually building a department is even larger. So, but that experience, you're right, I learned so much. And, that's why, not just that experience, but many of the experiences that I had in mortgage banking, um, allowed me to now have my own training company where, a large part of the focus is mortgage banking. And it's because I, navigated myself through the industry by learning by trial and error. I mean, that is why I'm a successful trainer. I mean, that's it. My experiences. So, one of the things, like when I had my launch event from TSM Mortgage Professionals, the name of my tagline was training your way to success. And I used to talk about just navigating, myself through the industry, just learning. And I'll tell you my story. As a matter of fact, maybe Monday, I'll do that. I'll just tell you my mortgage story so you guys kind of understand, um, you know, what I've been through, during, on my way to entrepreneurship, but go to my website and you can read my bio on my website, and that kind of, gives you a little bit of of a path of how I came to be open TSM mortgage professionals and be a full-time trainer. So SMART goals, we're going to talk about that shortly. Okay. Kim is still originating. I didn't know that, Kim. Okay, where do you tell everybody where you are? And is your company hiring? Because I have someone who is looking for an originating position. She just reached out to me yesterday. So if you guys, have openings for sales, I know the market is kind of crazy right now. Let me know so I can, put you in touch or get a resume over to you. Uh, I love learning about passionate people's journey. Yes, and I love talking about it. I could talk about it all day, Karen. So, we're gonna have a ball on Monday if you're able to join. Um, Okay, so Kim says she loves originating and helping families purchase their first home or restructuring to save money to give them for home improvements. And she works at Northwest Federal Credit Union. Okay, awesome. So yeah, I'm going to connect with you, Kim, and see, if they're looking for originators. I've got somebody who is really good, and she's looking for work. So now let's get back to SMART goals. All right. So SMART is actually an acronym. Okay. And what it is, the S stands for specific. So your goals need to be specific. And what do I mean by that? They have to have some depth or substance to them. For instance, you can say, I want to be in sales. That's a general statement, right? Or let's use this one. I want to go to college. Okay, so very broad statement. I want to go to college, right? So, what you would want to say when you're trying to establish a SMART goal, okay, so you have a goal, you want to go to college, but a SMART goal would be more substance to that. So, it would be I want to be a mortgage loan originator and work for Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. Okay, so if you want to be in sales, that's your general goal. The more specific goal is going to be I want to be a mortgage loan originator and work for Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. Okay, so that's specific because you gave more detail, more depth to what your goal was. All right, if if your goal was I want to go to college, like I mentioned earlier, then you might say, I want to attend the University of Missouri and study a degree in communications. Okay, so you are making specific goals. And why do you think that is? Like, why do you think your goals have to be specific? Just somebody throw that, in the chat for a second. I'm going to wait because I think this is good stuff. Why do you think goals need to be specific? Hey, Lori, how are you? We're talking about setting goals or goal setting today. All right, so I don't see anything. I think the live feed is probably a little bit on delay, or either that or nobody wanted to answer the question. So I'll answer it for you. The reason why we want goals to be specific is because remember earlier in this discussion, I said goals are important because we need a roadmap for success. So you have to have a step by step, process of how to get there. Oh, thanks, Lori, for sharing. So Karen says, so you can have good aim. Okay. And yes, that's exactly right. You have to be able, we got to set a road for, um, success. We have to have a lane to follow, and we have to take steps along the way. So in order to be able to do that, if you just have a broad sense, oh, I want to go to college, or oh, I want to be in sales, the next question that somebody's going to ask you if you say that is, okay, well, what do you want to do? What would you like to do in sales? How do you plan to accomplish that? Or how can I help you accomplish that? Okay. So your goals have to be specific. Okay. So that's the S in SMART goals. The M is measurable. Okay. So you have to have a specific goal. Two, the goal has to be measurable. So what that means is there has to be some sort of metric, to determine, your success, or how successful you are and where you are on that scale. So an example of that would be, and I always do sports because my kids are so involved in sports. Example of that, of a measurable goal, is I want to be able to play softball at a Division I college or university and play at the highest level. Okay. So what part of that is the measurable part? Okay. The measurable part is play at the highest level. So what does the highest level mean to you when you're setting goals? Well, for my daughter, she wanted to play Division I college ball, and she does. That was a goal for her. And then what we did was we helped her to achieve that goal by taking the necessary steps. Her goal was specific, okay, and it was measurable. She knew there's different levels of playing college softball or playing any sport. There's club ball, there's, division, 3, division 2, division 1. She said that she wanted to play at the highest level in college, and the highest level is division 1. Okay. So her goals were measurable, and it was up to me and my husband, to help her establish, that path to get there. Okay. Okay, let's see. Do we have anything else here? Okay. All right. So SMART goals, the S is for specific, the M is for measurable. Okay. The A in SMART goals is for attainable. Okay. So I'm going to speak through this, but just, jot in the chat there what you think attainable is. Okay. It's, a goal that you can accomplish. Okay. So sometimes we have wild, dreams. Okay. For a long time, I wanted to be Oprah. Okay, I just did, and maybe this live is my version of being Oprah, having my own talk show, right? As you can see, I love to talk. So, but was that goal attainable for me? No, probably not. But you want your goals to be something that is reasonable enough for you to be able to achieve it. Okay. So you don't want to get overzealous, with your goals, like I was when, I swore I was going to be the next Oprah. Um, but you don't want to be too ambitious, you don't want to be too overzealous, and both of those things are good, but you need to make sure that you kind of keep things in perspective, and is that goal and it truly a reasonable and achievable goal that you're setting for yourself. So I guess my lesson here is be realistic, okay, when you set your goals. And then what you want to do is you want to chunk that goal down into smaller pieces so that they are achievable. So an example of that is, I think I mentioned yesterday I struggle, with my weight, and so I was like, okay, I really need to do something, just to kind of stay healthy, especially now because we're home and we're eating so much. And this is another thing, and I'm getting off task here again, but my hair used to be really long. I had really long hair. I wore braids forever, and probably for about 10 years. And and I loved my braids because I it was easy, and I didn't have to worry about getting my hair wet, and all the stuff that we deal with, know, with our hair. But one of the reasons why I kept my long hair for so long is because I felt like it just kind of covered up, you know, my double and triple chin that I had, and, all that other stuff, right? And so when I decided to, cut my hair and just go natural, I felt like I needed to lose some weight in order to do that because, I wasn't really comfortable with my face, and how heavy I was at the time. So, I'm trust me, I'm getting somewhere with this. So, I said, okay, I really need to work out. And um, but I can't jump on the treadmill and run, a marathon, in order to, lose the weight and lose it quickly. There's a process to get there. So I had to chunk it down into small pieces. Okay. And so those small pieces were, okay, maybe I'll eat a little bit less, maybe I'll cut out some, bread and potatoes and, cheese and sour cream and all the stuff that I love, So that was, the first step is trying to, slowly, curb my diet. And that's very difficult to do. But I couldn't just take away, mashed potatoes instantly, so we go to smaller portions, right? First, to and eventually get ourselves to that place. And that struggle is real too. It really is. So um then, the next step is, okay, I got to get some exercise in my diet. So I can't go and like I said, run a marathon. I have to start out by walking, and then maybe, get myself up to a run, or, you get what I'm saying. And, I'll tell you this. So I just started, working out recently, not working out, just, you know, 30 minutes on the treadmill or the elliptical machine. And then, I want to go out and get some air because it's, starting to get so beautiful. But my first day, my first day, I did it. I accomplished it. But my first day, I was like, okay, I'm going to get on the elliptical machine and I am going to go for 30 minutes nonstop. I'm going for 30 minutes nonstop. I got on the elliptical machine, okay? And I was 10 minutes, sorry, my phone is going off here. Um I was 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. I think I was 3 minutes in on that tread on that elliptical machine. And I was done. I was so done. And but I didn't stop. My husband came in around minute 5, and he was like, "How are you doing?" And I'm like, "I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it." And I'm the one that says, don't say you can't, but he was like, "Yes, you can. You can do it. You can do it." And he's, kind of being my cheerleader and everything. So he turned the television on for me, and I put on some kind of show or whatever, and I started watching it, and then it kind of took my mind off of, what I was doing. And I got through the 30 minutes on my first day, but I began to think to myself at, minute 5, 6, and 7, maybe I should have just started at 10 minutes. Maybe my goal, should have been, a little bit smaller. And so I tell you that story because, your goals have to be attainable. You can't, just go out and say, I'm going to run a marathon. And when it's been, 5 years since even got on a treadmill. Okay. So that's attainable. That's the A in SMART goals. The R is relevant. Okay. So goals must help your progress to your dream. Okay. So they have to be relevant. Okay. So don't go to medical school if your goal is to be an actor. Okay. They don't match. So the lesson here with relevant is, or having some relevance to your goal is, take the necessary steps within, that realm of what it is that you're trying to do. Okay, so the goal has to be relevant, and the steps that you take to get to reach that goal have to be, relevant to your goal. Okay, and a lot of times, young people, especially, they're in college and they're undecided on their major, and they take an easy classes, the easiest degree that they can find, and then, but it's not going anywhere, so the key is to have a goal. Where are you going? Okay. And then chunk it down to, okay, what are the steps that I need to take in order to get where I'm going? Okay. So that's what we're saying by being relevant. Okay. So that is the R. Now, the T in SMART goals is time frame. Okay, it has to be time bound. So goals must have a time frame so that you can hold yourself accountable. Okay, so it has to have a time frame in order to hold yourself accountable. So I'm going to use the whole weight thing. I want to lose 10 pounds by July 1st, or whatever. And so I'm holding myself accountable to that particular date. So when I'm planning to get through my goals, or get to my goal, I know that I've got an end date. That's my destination. Okay, with a time frame. Okay, so now I got to take the steps to be able to get there. Okay, and in doing that, I have to set time frames for it to happen, because a lot of us are procrastinators by nature. We put off the things that are difficult for us. And if you want to be successful, you have to go through the pain, the difficult part, to be able to do that. So, in order to hold ourselves accountable, we have to, place a deadline on our goals, and make adjustments along the way. That doesn't mean that the timeline has to stay put. Sometimes there are circumstances that, force us to, adjust, right? Adjust what we're trying to do. So, you want to have that time frame there at least, so you know what you got to do, and how long you have to do it in order to get there. All right. So, let's talk about, I know we got, time here at 8:43, but I want to just, say this really quickly. Okay. There are 3 Ds to success in my, from my perspective. Okay. And I'm going to end with this, I think. All right. The first D is determine the need. Okay. And that's your goal, right? Your goal is that need. What are we trying to do? Determine the need. That's the first D. The second D is develop a plan. So how are we going to get there? Okay. First D, determine the need. Second D, develop a plan. The third D is deliver results. Okay. So determine the need, develop a plan, deliver results. Okay. That's what I use when, I have coaching sessions. Okay. So I do mentorship and coaching, and for professionals, anybody who needs a kickstart in their professional career. I do coaching for that, and that's how I base my whole coaching service on those 3 Ds: determine the need, develop a plan, deliver results. So we have a needs assessment that we do, and where I ask questions of, okay, what are you trying to accomplish, and what resources do we have to get you there, and things of that nature. Then we sit down together and we develop a plan. How are we going to reach these goals? Okay, and then the third thing we do, which is the final thing, is reach that goal. So execute the plan and deliver results. So the 3 Ds. So I talked to you about SMART goals today. Now everybody knows what SMART goals are. Okay, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and a time frame. Okay, those are SMART goals. You'll hear that a lot, in business. Okay, and then the 3 Ds: determine the need, develop a plan, deliver results. Okay, so if there are goals that you have right now, things that you are trying to achieve, and you realize that one of the letters in the word SMART you have not um, accomplished or done or put into part of your plan, that's what I task you with today. Okay, make sure the goals that you have are SMART goals. Okay, so that is all I have for you. Let's see, do I have any other messages in the box? Okay, you guys have any other questions? Doesn't look like it. All right, well, guys, I really appreciate you joining me today. And I want everybody to have a great weekend. The sun is shining here. I don't know where everybody else is, but enjoy your weekend if you can. And I will chat with you on Monday. Share this feed and join my live on Monday. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining.